area in
northwest. That cut out.
Northern England, Lake District. I don't know if you've ever been to the UK or.
I'm from the UK.
Oh, are you? All right, originally.
So been here for since 1986.
Yeah.
I'm from Northampton, which is right in the middle of the country.
Of course, yeah.
I went to Leeds University, so I'm an adopted Yorkshireman.
Okay.
And we love the Lake District. My wife has family in Salisbury, around Salisbury. And
yeah.
Last time we were in the UK, we spent a very nice little holiday in the Lake District. It's a great place.
Yeah, perfect place. Yeah. So you must have been what, late 20s, early 20s when you moved over?
I was 29 when I came to the UK, to Australia. Yeah, we came for 2 years.
Right. So did you go over just you and your wife, and then?
Yes.
Just like family? Yeah.
I got a job. And relocated to Melbourne, and we loved it, so we stayed.
I've just had to look up where you're at I mean, I know where Melbourne is roughly, but reminding myself on the map, you're on the very southern tip there of New South Wales, isn't it?
No, Victoria.
Victoria, sorry. So you can see, well, not see, but you're like Tasmania sort of end of.
That's right. There's not much, apart from the corner of Tasmania, there's not much between here and Antarctica.
Right. Wow.
So the sea's pretty cold.
And yeah, I bet. So do you still work out there then, or do you trade full time? I mean, how is your trading structured? Because I know you use Bob's systems and things.
Yeah. Well, I've been retired for about 5 years, 4 years maybe.
Yeah.
And so I trade full time.
Yeah. So I know from your testimonial that you gave to Bob, you had issues sort of trading, I guess as we all do when we start off. Yeah. Could you sort of give me an outline of what your trading was like before?
Sure. Okay. Well, in a nutshell, I started probably around 15 years ago. And I started, I don't know how I got onto it, but I went on a 2 or 3 day seminar that basically taught Elliot wave trading and flogged some software, which is actually very good software called Profit Source. It's Australian and American. And I started actually trading CFDs in Aussie stocks and American stocks. And that's all I knew how to do, was to follow this system. I really didn't know anything else about trading, and I was really successful.
Yeah.
But only for a very short time. Because, well, first of all, I was very, very careful. I've always been very, very careful about risk management and risk control. I was very, very careful, but I compounded my account very quickly. In fact, too quickly, because I then got really scared. I started, my stops were too tight and all this sort of stuff. So I actually ended up not blowing out the account, but certainly giving back all my profits.
Wow.
And I stopped doing it for a little while.
So how long ago was that, Trevor?
Oh, that was, it was before the GFC in 2008. So it's probably about 2007.
Okay.
Long time ago. And I probably dabbled in that system a few times over the years, but I kind of got a taste for automated trading.
Yeah.
And I spent many years, really, when I look back, trying to develop automated forex systems in MetaTrader 4, which is a dog of a thing to program in. But I did do a lot of development, and I did all the classic errors of over optimizing and curve fitting and being scared about losing money and all that. You know, every mistake I've made.
Yeah.
I've never actually blown up an account. I have to say that, but
Okay.
I've always. I guess I'm very cautious. I'm very, very cautious.
Did you have a decent sort of account size to trade with then? Because most
Not
accounts
not
that they
then.
get,
I
no.
started with about the equivalent of 10,000 US dollars.
Okay. So that is a relatively, well, small account in lots of ways, but a decent enough account to risk.
It was it was it was. I mean, I bumped that. I got that account up to about 30. No, in US dollars, about 25,000 in about 3 months. And you know, and then proceeded, as I said, to give back all my profits. And
Okay.
and I worked with that sort of size account for many years, really, probably for 10 years, dabbling in forex trading and so on.
Yeah.
Um, and then something got me into futures trading, um, day trading, not automated. Again, working with, you know, very chart based. I'm a very sort of visual person. So working with patterns and charts and mechanical systems, definitely mechanical, but not automated.
Yeah.
And I guess the issues I was having, apart from the usual psychological issues, were that being in Australia, it's actually pretty difficult to trade the US market, which is the only futures market with any real volume,
Yeah.
any liquidity. Yeah, it's just different from it. It's just difficult from a time perspective.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I tried getting up in the middle of the night, and I did all those sorts of things, and I just basically couldn't handle it, particularly when I was working full time. And
Yeah.
then later on, I did step back the work a bit and started working part time. But I found it really didn't suit me. So again, I started to go down the path of trying to automate those future systems. And I I got involved with a number of different courses, software, trading groups, and so on, where I learned a huge amount about the mechanics of futures trading and the markets and all the different technical things that can go wrong. A lot about portfolio building, which is really to me, having portfolios of systems is really the holy grail. If there is a holy grail, or the free lunch, whatever you want to call it, by, you know, combining systems to reduce drawdown, basically.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot about that sort of stuff, but it was all basically, when I look back, it was all based on systems that I didn't really, or I guess the philosophy or the underlying assumptions of the software I was using, I really didn't believe in.
Yeah.
And basically that's because these, you know, I've used genetic optimization system builders and that sort of thing that effectively randomly generate thousands of systems, if you want them to, with the net result, and then you go through a process. And I've used, I think, 3 of these things, spent a fair bit of money along the way. These things generate maybe tens of thousands of systems that you then go through a culling process and a filtering process to come down to a very small number of actual robust candidates.
Yeah.
And then go forward and build a portfolio of these systems and so on. And I was never, ever comfortable with the idea that you're basically producing rubbish and looking for a needle in a haystack, and you find a few needles, but the rest of it is garbage that you then discard.
Yeah.
And I was just never comfortable in believing in that approach. But I learned a lot doing it. I didn't lose a lot of money, but I didn't, I was probably breaking even all through this whole period. Probably for 10 years, I was breaking even.
Okay.
I was working, so it didn't matter. So that was my entree into futures trading, was really a automated trading.
Yeah.
Was really genetic system builders. And as I said, I learned a huge amount about.
So when you're saying futures trading, are you talking about the E-mini in particular, or just all the futures contracts, commodities?
E-mini is a large part of it, and the NASDAQ E-mini and the YM, but also crude oil and gold.
Okay.
Not so much ags and things like that. But certainly the US indexes, crude and gold, would be my main things.
So that was your past then, your introduction to trading, how you started off, and then how you developed. So what was your introduction to Bob's trading strategies then? How did you find out about Bob and develop that?
I've known about Bob's approach for years, and I used walk forward optimization and walk forward analysis in my in that phase when I was doing all the genetic system builder thing, because a lot of those the robustness approach there involves using walk forward analysis to cull out to sift out those working systems.
Okay.
And so I've had Bob's books for years. I've known about him. I've known about walk forward analysis, and then I did a workshop that Bob ran. That from memory was 3 or 4 sessions of 3 or 4 hours, I think. Called Building Robust Strategy. Or Building Robust Trading Strategies, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think he still runs that course.
He does, yeah. Great workshop. And that was great. That opened my eyes to some nuances and a way to approach the process. And that was useful, and I sort of applied some of those ideas, but they were different to what I'd been taught to do already. So I couldn't. There was a sort of clash there. So I didn't pursue that hugely. But I think I just came across Ranger and Bob's Ranger product, probably just from an email. Just an email.
Okay. And how long have you been using it then? And you're presumably using this to develop your own systems.
I am. So I got into Ranger about October last year, so not that long.
Yeah.
I did a fair bit of due diligence with Bob on the performance of the systems, in particular how they performed as a portfolio and what the portfolio looked like. So Bob was happy to give me the data, and it was very impressive. But what I was actually looking at here, well, first of all, let me go back a step. When I think of Ranger, there's really 2 parts to it. There's the Ranger method and the tools for developing your own systems. A closed version or an open version, open code version. I built the open code version. But also a portfolio of systems prepackaged that Bob's already generated called Ranger Alpha. And what I was really looking at was what the performance of Ranger Alpha, which is
Mm-hmm.
really the thing that attracted me to the product in the first place.
Yeah.
So two parts to it. Ranger, I was impressed with. The Ranger method, I was very impressed with, because it, I could see that the foundation of it was really sound. That it addressed at the end of the day, Ranger is actually a very simple idea. It's saying, okay, what different market types are there? You know, you've got a trending market. You've got a market where you might want to get a trending market where you might want to go counter trend, or a ranging market where you might want to do sort of mean reversion type trading. You've got that sort of style of market or style of trading.
Mm-hmm.
You've got how are you going to enter the market? Are you going to do breakouts? Are you going to take limit entries and get a better price? And what type of exits are there? Trailing and targets and stops or reversals. And when it boils it down, well, you know, Ranger basically boils it down to these simple elements, of which that's all there is really.
Yeah.
Then combines them in such a way that you can generate systems using a very logical sequence of steps that builds some alternative systems that are often very uncorrelated, which is very important for putting them together into a portfolio.
Yeah.
So what appealed to me about this is, rather than have a random sort of data-driven approach of let's just throw a strategy at a bunch of data, or the other way around, throw a bunch of data at a strategy and see what sticks. This is saying, Ranger is saying, here's some building blocks that all strategies really have to have, and varieties of them. Let's combine them with some additional smarts that are proprietary, such as Bob's trend filters and momentum filters and volatility filters, but combine them in such a way that has a good likelihood of generating a lot of very good systems, rather than generating tens of thousands of systems, of which only a handful end up being very good.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of it appealed to me.
Yeah.
But then when I looked at the Ranger Alpha portfolio performance, which had been generated, importantly to me, been generated using Ranger itself, it was proof. Looking at the performance, it was, and Bob's been. The other thing is Bob's been publishing the Ranger performance figures ever since it went live.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know what those numbers are. I've been following those numbers. Still got all the emails. where the percentage is, you know, going up with some small drawdowns. And so
I think it's,
you know, it's on the record basically. There's no hiding that performance.
that's right.
It's not made up at the, you know, just a back test basically.
So what difference has that made to your trading then? So you've gone from this, you know, initially sort of profitable trader, took a break, floundered then with system development, but knew obviously how to develop systems, just didn't like the approach you were using, to finding Ranger. Ranger obviously opened your eyes to the relatively simple sort of portfolio approach, and already, you know, the Ranger Alpha strategies that you could use straight away. So how has that transformed your trading to now then?
Well, Ranger Alpha itself has had fantastic performance since I implemented it. So I went live with it straight away, probably at the beginning of November, I think. And I should say that I did miss out a sort of step in my development here, which is that I'll just, you know, just let me backtrack because it makes it, it kind of fills in the gap here, that having played with all the genetic optimization generators, system generators, and not being very satisfied with the whole philosophy of it, I did actually come across a company or a guy who develops automated trading systems for futures. Again, using a totally different approach to either Bob or anyone else I've come across, was actually to spend years observing the market, mainly building day trading systems, but building systems that reflect, not using optimization at all, just building portfolios of systems that reflect what the market, or trade successfully what the market is doing as a portfolio. So I started leasing those systems, some of those systems, a portfolio of those systems, and they're reasonably successful, mainly very short term. But the important thing is, and I still trade them today, they're an important part of my portfolio. I trade something like, I think the number is 62 strategies right now live.
Wow. Yeah.
Of which about 30 were from this company that I leased systems from, ongoing. About 12, 13, 14 are Bob systems, out of the box, Ranger Alpha, plus his other product, LDR Alpha.
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple of other systems I've acquired along the way. But the important thing is, I've spent a lot of time analyzing that mix of systems and building a portfolio that has a huge range of markets and timeframes and trading styles to give me a great deal of diversification.
Yeah.
Now, so the context there is I didn't start, I guess the point I wanted to make is I didn't start by just saying, oh, here's some great systems that Bob's developed. He's a good guy. He's got history. He's got a great process. I'll go live with them. I've been live for some time and successful with other strategies. But I saw the value in both Ranger Alpha out of the box and LDR Alpha out of the box. But I saw the value in having a robust method of generating my own systems. And so, so what I'm gradually doing is generating my own systems and replacing the leased systems that I started with, one by one. So that eventually I'll become self-reliant. These systems aren't black boxes, but I don't have the source code for them. The leased systems.
But you understand enough about how they work to apply them in range.
And again, they give me good diversification.
Yeah.
But the focus for me going forward is Ranger and LDR to generate systems. I must say though, having said that, Ranger Alpha in particular has made me a bit lazy in the last few months because its performance has been fairly outrageous, outrageously good. And
sorry, Trevor. Sorry, Trevor. I lost you there for about 10 seconds or so. You were saying that you were saying that the performance of Ranger has been outrageously good, and then I lost you for a sec.
Okay.
Can you backtrack a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the idea of Ranger as a systems generator and a process for building robust strategies great, and it's certainly what I'm intending to use to generate new systems, and I'm starting to do that. But Ranger Alpha has made me a bit lazy in the last few months because its performance has been outrageously good, far better than I expected, and because of that great performance, I haven't done, to be honest, I haven't done as much work with Ranger as I should have done, Ranger the generator, as I should have done. I've tended to spend my time fiddling around my portfolio a little bit on the edges, but the core of the portfolio has been Ranger Alpha and LDR Alpha. Between the two of them, give great diversification of markets. Time frames, I think they're all 60-minute. 60-minute valve on these systems.
So how many markets do you trade, and what does your normal trading day look like then?
Okay, I trade a lot of markets. So Ranger Alpha is all the E-mini, S&P 500 E-mini. Ranger LDR and LDR Alpha. I don't trade all of the systems in there. I trade soybeans and gold and crude, and there's a YM system, the Dow Jones. I've got a couple of systems. I've got quite a few crude systems. These are not Bob systems. Crude systems, gold systems, and a few soybeans. So that's the range of markets. In terms of the trading day, most of the action happens overnight for me. And so what happens is I usually wake up in the morning, switch everything on and see what's happening. It's entirely automated. So I do other trading. I do stock trading and so on, but it's long-term stuff. But my futures trading is entirely automated.
How did you automate it, Trevor? Is this do you use TradeStation or is it with somebody else?
Well, I've used every platform, and I own every platform that you could buy, I think, and tried everything. But all my futures trading is on Interactive Brokers.
Okay.
And so my actual setup is everything runs on TradeStation. So my data feed is TradeStation. And then the signals from TradeStation are picked up by NinjaTrader sitting in the middle. And NinjaTrader picks up the signals and trades, manages the trades on Interactive Brokers.
Okay.
I've also done it in the past with multi-charts. So multi-charts can run easy language. And multi-charts has the advantage that it can connect to Interactive Brokers directly and trade directly. When I got Ranger, I discussed using it with multi-charts with Bob, and we found actually there are only about 3 tiny little code changes I had to make Ranger work on multi-charts, and it works absolutely fine. So, a way that works with Ranger and LDR is to have it running on multi-charts, the data feed from TradeStation, trading into any broker you like, really, but I use IB. And the only reason I'm not doing that right now, I'm using TradeStation, is that these other lease systems I use are only licensed for TradeStation. So I sort of didn't want to be running too many platforms, too many moving parts.
And how do you find that then? It obviously seems to fit in with your lifestyle. You don't have to make any sort of changes. Does it run smoothly enough that you don't have to get too involved with it?
It does. Look, it needs what I call care and feeding.
Yeah.
There's always there were teething problems at the beginning, setting it up, and particularly with data feeds and so on. And also there's a couple of different options you can use when you're sending signals from TradeStation to IB by NinjaTrader. You can sort of do it in a synchronous mode where you're trying to keep everything in sync. And that actually ends up being fairly disastrous because it gets out of sync very easily. And in the middle of the night, you can be long umpteen contracts when it should have reversed and gone short, but it missed the signal. And you know, in practice, what happens is you get errors in your favor and you get errors that go against you, and it's a wash in the end. But instead of doing that, I run everything asynchronously, where the signals are just pushed into IB. And so when a trade opens or closes in TradeStation, it ends up just being a market order in IB. So for some systems, that doesn't work too well because you get too much slippage. And some markets, you get too much slippage. One of the nice things I think about Ranger, or at least Ranger Alpha, because Ranger obviously can use any time frame at all, but Ranger Alpha uses 60-minute charts. So does LDR Alpha. Not a time frame I've spent a lot of time using because it's a short-term swing trading system. I mean, trades can easily be opened the same day, but they usually take 2-3 days. A lot of my other systems are much shorter term than that, or even 1-minute charts. Even though they might hold a trade all day, they might take a signal on a 1-minute chart. The thing I like about the 60-minute time frame is, and the size of the average trade with things like Ranger and with Alpha, Ranger Alpha and LDR Alpha, is that if there is any slippage, and we're really only talking one or two ticks usually, with the S&P.
That's good.
It really is a tiny proportion of the, average trade.
It sounds like now you spend a lot of your time on the development still of other systems, and Ranger Alpha and LDR Alpha runs itself, needs monitoring, but you can just sort of let it get on with things. Is that fair enough?
I've had very few errors. I really just look at the logs in the morning from NinjaTrader. I religiously check, what I've got open on Interactive Brokers versus what TradeStation Trade Manager says I should have open.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time, it's been identical. If it isn't identical, I've always been able to track down the error, but those errors, probably I haven't had a significant error for a couple of months.
Okay.
The only real thing I have to do from a maintenance point of view is roll over the futures contracts, which obviously is every 3 months for the indexes, but every month for crude and a bit less often for gold. That really is the only maintenance. Everything runs on. I run everything on a VPS. I run everything actually on Amazon Web Services, which I used to use it professionally, and now I've used it for years. And so everything's running in the States. It really, it's a lights out operation. Really. In fact, it just runs itself apart from the rollovers.
Well, it sounds like you've obviously come a long way with your trading since you started, and the gradual progression seems to have been to, robust automated trading strategies, with Ranger Alpha and LDR Alpha, isn't it? And that's with a lot of the technical expertise that you have there, you've managed to build a really robust trading setup there, I think.
Yep, it is robust. It doesn't need a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
Although I'm a coder, I haven't really needed to do any coding.
Yeah.
You know, it's um, it's a great way to trade. It's very
Yeah.
relaxing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it, it just is a great way to trade, and I don't have to spend a lot of time sitting in front of charts, which
Yeah.
I've never been very good at, taking
Uh-huh.
trades, live trades on charts.
Yeah.
I'd rather plan a trade or plan a system, make sure it's robust, and then switch it on and let it get on with it. And
Yeah.
it does a far better job than I do.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right there in terms of the amount of stress it takes off you having a system like this, knowing that, it's profitable in the long term. There are going to be days, obviously, where it doesn't hit the mark, but knowing that long term, all you have to do is keep yourself out of the trading, on a personal level, and let the system work,
Yeah.
isn't it? I think that's a big plus, and it's why people like, ourselves are profitable. And I've always found that when I've traded discretionary, when I've gone through these phases and think, yeah, I can trade a 1 minute chart discretionary, then it's much harder work, even though it can be profitable and
Well,
exciting
it
at
can be,
times.
but I mean, it's really trading as sport, isn't it? Trading for
Yeah,
entertainment,
yeah,
and
exactly.
more often than not, more often than I've given back all my profits anyway from that sort of trading.
Yeah,
I'm just not
yeah,
very good at it. It just doesn't suit me, and it just doesn't fit in with family life and everything else. There's always something else wanting your attention.
yeah,
Um, so I just love automated trading. I believe in it. But there's a lot of pitfalls.
yeah.
But they can be overcome.
Good. And it's nice to hear somebody, outline the process they went through, that it wasn't just a simple sort of start and profitable from the beginning. You've had a lot to work on. Um, and it's got you to the point where you're trading a portfolio approach, and obviously very successful and profitable.
Yeah, it's been a huge amount of work. I guess I've got persistence. Um, it's cost me a fair bit of money along the way.
Yeah,
But I think that's just you've got to put the work in. But yeah,
yeah,
you don't have to go through quite such a tortuous journey
no, no,
if you find the right frameworks, the right products, the right people like
yeah,
Bob to latch onto and get mentored by, really.
yeah. I was going to say that, the process that, I've traded for a lot of years and gone through much a similar process to you, that you don't
Mm.
have to go through all of that to get to a point where you can trade two or three strategies, uh, day trading, even automated, and get tremendous peace of mind from profitable trading. So, um, I want to thank you, Trevor, for talking to me. I really do appreciate it. It's always nice to talk to other traders, isn't it, that have gone
Yeah,
through the
yeah, it
same
is. Yeah, you're welcome.
similar thing. And hopefully we can do something in the future, just with, because obviously you've told me about all the technical aspects of it. There's a lot more to trading, which is more the psychological um, side of it, and you seem to have done a lot of work on that as well. But maybe that's something we could cover when we talk next time. Would that be all right?
Absolutely, sure. That'd be good, Mike.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Trevor. I'll let you get on because it's early morning where you are and it's bedtime where I am. So,
Good on you, Mike.
all right, take care, Trevor, and we'll see you soon.
Good talking to you, Mike. Cheers. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
same here. Bye bye.